those who don't know, what is emotional intelligence? Take us through a little bit about it.
Oh my goodness, it is the ability to be able to use, manage, understand your emotions in a healthy manner.
There I was, an upcoming HR professional. I was flying high, scoring. I was even deemed the best HR of the year.
Guys, I'm so happy you are here. We addressed some hard things.
Oh my goodness. Today is Wednesday, 29th, January 29th. The last week of the month is already here. So, I hope you're doing great. I pray you're doing great. I know you're doing great. So, welcome to A Glimpse of Growth with Dr. Dale. You are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. So, you'll be lucky. You are lucky. So, we have an amazing conversation for you guys here today, as usual. As usual. So, walking the talk. You know, we talk a lot of talk, but we need to walk the talk and make the change happen. You know, I have a guest today, and before we even bring her up on stage for this conversation to get going, I want to say it's easy to talk about it because it's talk, right? My mom always says, and maybe the folks from back in the day, they say some stuff, man, you got to mad respect for the words and the quotes and the phrases that they be coming out with, right? My mom always say, if we had to pay to talk, we would say very little. I know, like a slap in the face. I was like, Ma, really? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So if your parents or your great grandparents or folks from back in the day have said some stuff as it relates to change, or if you say you're gonna do it, you might as well do it, or don't do it, or don't say it at all, or don't do it because I'm gonna do it myself. What is that conversation for you? Please share below. I would love to know because I got some quotes for days. So the conversation is, it's easy to talk about making changes, but real transformation takes place in action. And that's how we're going to bring our guest up and have her do a little intro of herself. You guys know her. If you don't know her, this will be the first time, so welcome. And I am bringing her up because she has massive experience. She's done so much, and the Lord God above has his hand on her. And this is just a way of me sharing her with you guys. So you can't keep her. I'm lending her. I'm lending her to you guys today. So here we go. Let me bring her up. Kendra.
Hi. Happy
Kendra, let me
Wednesday.
put this on because I know sometimes when I have guests, I be getting some echo. So let me put this on. We don't want no echo. We want today. Kendra, are you trying to give me a heart attack? I mean, you trying to give me a heart attack? Hi and welcome, Kendra.
Thank
Let
you.
me. I met Kendra at my my last job last year, Meridian, where I was the head of HR. Kendra is the VP of marketing over there. So I'll let her introduce herself. She has
Yeah.
been a light to me ever since. Kendra, the floor is yours.
Oh. So thank you so much, Dr. Dale, for having me today. I'm so excited to be. So I am a marketing professional, and I have been in this arena, in this space, mostly healthcare marketing for 15 plus years. Now I'm starting to tell my age. I enjoy what I do. I've been in leadership probably about the same amount of time, from advancing from manager to director to VP. I have my own publishing firm. I also coach individuals um, on books and business and life, things of that nature, which I absolutely love doing. I'm married, been married for this year will be 20 years. I almost said 19, and I am the mom. Yeah, 20 years. And I have to tell you the secret. Um, I am a mom of three. I have two adult daughters and a 14-year-old son, and I have two beautiful grandsons, Kenzie and Arnie. So
Mhm.
I love what I do. I love being an advocate and a champion in various spaces. And so I'm ready to get this conversation started about all things. Should we talk about leadership and beyond, and moving beyond just conversations and into action?
100%. Kendra, can we just start with what you just said just now as it relates to 20 years? I'm
Yes.
sure some young folks, young blood out there may be
Yeah.
thinking, what, 20 years? Who can do that? Number one,
Okay.
and I'm sure that that has helped you not only in your marriage life, but in your
Mhm.
work life, your professional life. So let's
Absolutely.
have that
Let's talk
conversation.
about
Let's
that.
let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
that.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is me. I like to think, I come from that school where your word is your bond, but your word has even more significance when you make this vow before God. And sometimes you get into these rough places. And so what we decided to do was take divorce completely out of our vocabulary. You can go sleep on the sofa. Matter of fact, you can go get on the roof. You can go get in the car, but we're not going anywhere. And so there's this stick with itness that you just have to have when it comes to your marriage, it comes to your career and personal goals, and it's the stick with itness, along with extending a lot of grace, but also knowing when to speak, time and place, knowing the tone in which you carry, and understanding that healing is so important in your life period, because when we're not healed, we show up in spaces bleeding, if you will. And I'm not talking about hemorrhaging actual the liquid from our bodies, but I'm saying we will literally bleed out emotionally onto people who've never even caused us harm. But I feel like if I keep talking, I'm gonna get into what we're starting to talk about here
No,
today,
but
which
but,
is
but wait. Okay, so let's say, okay, you talked about marriage and making sure that you took off the table the word divorce. You took that out of the vocabulary. That's not even in the
that's right.
conversation. That's not a part of our life. So
No,
before you get to thriving or even saying let's take that off the table, you had to make some changes, which is what we're here to talk about
that's
today.
right. That's right. So change for me looked like healing the little girl inside of me, because I had childhood trauma. I had leadership trauma in workplaces. Trauma is something that happens to us, and it can leave us in a place of living through triggers, or it changes our lens and how we see people, how we see places, and even things. And so this is why healing is so important, is vital. Because when we are healed, we can offer healing to other people. We can even recognize when others aren't healed. We can have courageous conversations, and we can begin to not only in some way empathize, but we can even sympathize with people, but we can also still hold people accountable to get the results that still need to happen and deal with the business at hand.
Kendra, easier said than done. What do you mean hold people accountable? What? Having boundaries?
Hmm. Yes. So, of course, having boundaries, but we have to remember that when we create boundaries, that we have to hold ourselves to those same boundaries. So, if we're saying, I'm not going, you know, you have to have a burnout plan before burnout actually happens. So, if you say, I'm not going to work after 5 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, by 4:30, you need to get your grip and start heading toward the door. and literally do not pick it up. Because what happens is when we break our own boundaries, we're not being trustworthy with ourselves. So we don't trust ourselves. And then we start looking through the lens that, like, oh goodness, I can't trust myself with my own wellness. That's not good because the accountability starts with us first. If we're going to be
Yeah.
a light in a dark world, we have to show people what accountability looks like. We have to show people what balance looks like. And a lot of times that's saying, you know what, self, I apologize. I created this boundary, but I didn't hold myself accountable to it. But I'm turning the page and I'm going to take a smaller step. Maybe I need to just start on Mondays versus saying Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. And then in 2 weeks, I work myself up to Tuesdays. And then you get some people because a lot of times we like to set goals but keep them private. So when we break them
Yes.
and don't keep them,
Yeah.
then we don't have nobody to hold us accountable. But
Accountable.
sometimes you have to create a circle of
Of people around you.
trustworthy people around you that can say, hey, sis, yo, bro, this is one of my goals. This is something I'm striving to do. Could you help me out with this? Make sure it's somebody who believes in accountability, that they have those personal core values as well, meaning setting boundaries, being honest, being integral with oneself to thine own self be true. So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
that starts with evaluating ourselves. What are our personal core values? If we're setting these boundaries, who's holding us accountable? If we're setting goals, who's holding us accountable? I always say when I set goals, my first accountability is to the one who created me in his image. That's where I start.
Mm.
So if I fall, and that's not a scapegoat, because some people use that as a scapegoat too, because he's not gonna come down and tell. So you gotta have some accountability
You
of
going
writing
in
these things
so
out.
deep right
He ain't coming down to tell. I'm still praying about it. Well, how long we gonna pray about it before we move about it? I'm just saying,
because we do use God, right? We do
as a
use,
scapegoat.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll talk
Yeah,
to God about it. Yeah, I'll
yeah.
tell him, and then a year has
What happens?
passed and
Yeah,
nothing was
hmm
done,
yeah. And
right?
you have
So,
to take action steps.
yeah, yeah.
Because faith without, we already know,
Oh, faith without works is is
right?
is is, is dead.
It's dead in the water.
For those out there, that's a scripture from the Bible. From
Right.
the
It's
scripture
dead.
from the Bible. And we're not here preaching. We're just saying the word it tracks, right? Because you can talk the
Listen,
talk all day, every
right.
day.
hmm
But if you don't put some action behind those words, then it's just that talk.
Right. And a runner will never get in starting blocks if they don't have the intention of running. Nobody get in the
Mm,
starting blocks and sit there. They're waiting for the person who's going to fire the gun, little signal. They'll say, on your mark. That means you getting down, someone working their legs, stretching their legs out. On your mark, get set. Usually the
set.
butt goes up in the air, you get, and then pop. And no one sits there. So this is stuff that to me is very practical, but the human part of us can become stagnant. We become complacent. And when we become complacent, we have to be mindful that if we live a life of complacency, we'll look into in the future. A lot of times it's not even that far ahead for some of us, but we'll begin to look and say, what happened to this dream? When did I stop dreaming? When did I stop living? When did I start pursuing the things that my heart desires? So those are the
Mm,
conversations we have to begin to have with ourselves. Who are the folks who are going to help hold us accountable? We won't use our creator as a scapegoat because he won't come down and tell. And we have to really set those boundaries and hold ourselves accountable to them. And if when we're falling short, make sure we have a circle, a square, a triangle of folks, a village, some kind of way, whatever that looks like, to lift us and have those courageous conversations to move us in the direction of our goals.
so, Kendra, what about those people out there? Is like, girl, it's easier said than done. Like, Dr. Kendra, Dr. Dale, I don't know what you guys think. Out here, these streets is hard. This life is hard. There's a lot going on. So the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
right? How to
Hmm.
break those old habits,
Hmm.
and then
Yeah.
creating that circle of people around you. That is, they're going from, there's a big gap in between here and there.
Yeah. I have to say this, because this is what happened to me. Sometimes you become that which you never had. Sometimes you become that which you never had. I looked at my career when I was, or the time when I was in college and like my first careers, I never had mentors.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, and that's probably my fault because I didn't ask. And if you don't ask, you don't get. But I was like, I was like a pirate out here with a piece of paper, going to class, first generation college student. So when someone tell me out here in these streets are hard, I can tell you it's hard because I know what it's like to navigate the streets, even how we used to do with MapQuest, with the piece of paper, we were riding around like pirates, that it
Yeah.
is hard. But sometimes I believe that there are a select group of people, and I'm not discounting the fact that you do need to ask for mentors. Now I have a mentor. I have one really
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah, me too. You
And
have
there's
to.
other people, and
You
listen,
have to.
and it may not even be in the form of a mentor. Sometimes our network is our net worth. It's somebody you can pick up the phone and ask a question to and get the information you need. So what I realized I had to do was also become vulnerable, and I had to let these walls down, which is why I had to heal. It was important so that I could ask and build my network, so that I could um when I built my network, I was building my self confidence of,
Mm.
that old saying, closed mouth don't get fed. I
They
believe that
don't.
is that
They
you're
don't.
not gonna, no, you're gonna have to pick up the phone, you're gonna have to ask for some things. But in knowing that sometimes you become that which you don't have, I realize I get to be that for somebody else.
Somebody
I get
else.
to, you can call me if you have a question. And I just said this Sunday before last, I had to speak at a women's conference.
Yeah.
And I said, sometimes when we experience pain or trauma or setback, that's when walls go back up because it keeps us safe, but it doesn't keep us connected.
Mm.
And so there are missed opportunities when we let those walls up, and we're not connecting. We're missing opportunities.
Yeah.
So we must understand that, there's a level of vulnerability that has to happen. And we just have to listen. If we don't have it, go to the one who made us and say, I need courage right here in this area right here. Now give me the courage. And then after you ask for it, go pick the phone up
Yeah.
and think of the best thing they could say
Action.
first versus the worst
Action.
thing that they could say. The
Action.
the
Because the
best thing
worst thing
is
they can say is no, right? They can say no, I don't know. That's it.
right, right.
So why do we fear that no so much?
Yeah, because no is a closed door. Not realizing that we have the ability to build doors, build opportunities for ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, seek other opportunities. There's not, if you think about a building, right? Just think about
Yeah.
maybe your town hall building. There are
Yeah.
several access points, several doors. Well, one door closes, there's always another one.
Another door.
And
Yeah.
perhaps that door wasn't the one that was meant for you, anyways. And we have to get to a place of just celebrating even the no's, because even in a no, there's another opportunity. There's another opportunity to be courageous. There's another opportunity to meet someone who may even be a greater connection for us. So we have to get to that place of pivoting with the no's.
So befriend the nose. Get
Yes.
comfortable with the nose.
That's right. That's right. You get comfortable with the no's, because I think when we're children, when we're kids and our mom tells us no. Now, I wasn't courageous enough, but my sister would always say, why? And my mom
Me
always
too.
had the answer.
Me
You know
too.
what she said? You know what she said? Because I said so. So
So
I
yeah.
wasn't going to ask. So look, I learned not to ask. I just would observe, and I learned quickly through observation. And so I believe that some of this is how we're programmed into the world, growing up, that no means um, no. My mom is like, when I say no, that means no, but also understanding that no is also the potential for something greater. And that is the side that we have to tap into
The
as we're
push. Yeah.
navigating.
Yeah.
That's the push. So if I'm told no, there has to be something greater.
100%. I agree with that
Absolutely.
100%. You started this
Yeah.
conversation with pretty much taking the mirror. I'm telling folks to take the mirror off the wall and first
Mm,
tackle you, right?
mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
so you started right off the bat with self-awareness and emotional intelligence, understanding how your triggers uh,
Mm-hmm.
and affect your resistance to change.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Your triggers affect how you see change, whether you want to go towards, oh no, that's uncomfortable. No, no, no,
Yeah.
he's making me expose myself too much. Nah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go down that road because I need to. This is the
Yep.
little girl, the little boy in you wanna
Mm-hmm.
protect you.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so from my understanding of it, change affects everyone differently, right? It affects
Absolutely.
everyone. So
For sure.
walking that talk means understanding and supporting yourself
Mm-hmm.
first.
Absolutely. And you have to have an understanding of yourself first, of your triggers first, and how to unpack them. Because the what is it, the four agreements, I remember one of
Yes.
the agreements was don't take anything
So no. Yep.
personal. And so how hard is that not to take something personal,
Very
particularly
hard.
when it's
Very
your
hard.
work? And what I've learned to do is create space to receive. You have to create
Sandra.
space to receive, because when you don't create space to receive, our life experiences will tell us this is triggering me versus let me receive. So you go from hearing to listening.
Listening.
That's what healing will go do for
Quickly.
you. You
Yes.
go quickly from hearing to listening to receiving to processing, and then you're able to make whatever that pivot is and see beyond just what's in front of you, but to be able to see another perspective, not just the perspective, but where it is that maybe I do have a blind spot because I'm in the frame and I don't see myself in the picture. And we
Mm,
have to take the opportunity to receive. And we
mm,
are not taught that it's okay to receive.
mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they say, oh, it's constructive criticism. I think when you hear the word constructive followed by criticism, it's like embracing myself for the
For a
criticism.
punch. Yeah.
Right. You're bracing yourself for that. But in that constructive criticism, if it's constructive, it's going to benefit us to be better. And then when you think of criticism in itself, that's the bracing. Well, I think we have to learn to let go to receive. I have
Oh
some
my goodness.
constructive information I would like for you to receive.
Mm,
Or I have some best recommendations, or I have some ideas I would like to run by you to receive. And when we communicate, I like to say with compassion
compassion. Understanding. Yes.
and understanding, and ask the right questions, the individual is ready to receive. But it all is how we carry ourselves before tough conversations have to happen, anyways.
100%, which is why you said it starts with you, right? Which is why you
Everything
say
starts with us.
how you are understanding it, because I remember when I was going on interviews and
Mm,
earlier in my career, and I was being rejected or not getting a response, or and I started to take those rejections personally. I was like,
mm,
there's something wrong with me. Like, what's wrong with me?
mm-hmm.
Not the fact I never left no room for maybe I'm not gonna be, maybe my skills is not gonna be a good ad for that role, for that company, for that department. I never looked at it from another perspective. I always blame myself,
Mm,
right?
mm, mm-hmm. Oh,
So
yeah.
until later on in my career, I started getting comfortable. I got comfortable enough to even ask and go back and ask. Especially
Yes.
if I knew and understand who the person, the company or the person, the hiring manager, I would have reached back out in a message and I was like, I would ask the question, Is there a reason why we didn't move forward with me? Can you, I would like feedback for my next interview. Like, you
Absolutely.
imagine to have that to ask that question, and they
Right.
probably, I had to brace myself for whatever they, they said. And when I
Hmm.
got responses, I realized that they were telling me, oh, they my the salary I was asking for was out of their bracket, and
Hmm.
unfortunately you were fixed on that and we couldn't move forward. So it wasn't a personal me thing, it was my expectation and what I wanted for myself. So I just had to kind of change things around if I wanted to. You see what I'm saying? So
Yes.
what is it for for folks out there, for you guys, what is it that you are taking personally? So Kendra's point about the four agreements, what is it that you are taking personally that you can't even hear what people are saying to you?
Right.
Because you have all of this stuff going on in your head, and it's all about you being the victim and they hurting you and all this bunch of stuff.
Mm.
My, there's so much noise,
Mhm.
eh, Kendra?
Yeah, it is. And that's why we have to spend time with ourselves, with our thoughts, evaluating ourselves
Nobody
with
wants to do that no more.
with ourselves. Sometimes I find myself getting antsy and I'm like, why are you antsy? Because you have nothing to do. Now it's time to be with yourself. No, you don't have to look over a client manuscript. It's time to be with
It's
yourself. And if
yourself.
you think
Yeah.
how the world has pivoted, even through social media, you're always feeling you're engaging with someone because you're not with yourself, because you're with someone and there's this engagement that's happening. But it's so important that we take the time to be okay with
Yeah.
ourselves, to
Yeah.
do evaluations. What were my wins this week? What were my wins this month? What were my wins last year or in Q1? Personal things as well as professional things. But definitely,
Yeah.
when you think about don't take anything personal, a lot of times we take ourselves too personal.
Too
And we
personal.
have to, yes, and shout out and to you for even going back to employers saying, so is there something I can do? That listen, you were willing to receive, you became vulnerable enough to say, how can I improve? What areas can I improve upon? And I think that comes with after you've been rejected,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, here are my options. I can continue down this path, or I can make
Mm-hmm.
this pivot right now and ask some questions so that I can
Yeah.
enhance a skill set or my presentation or my conversation or even make tweaks to my resume or cover letter. So
A
there's
hundred
always
percent.
that opportunity for, when you don't take things personal, you're also growing.
Mm.
There's an opportunity to grow and evolve into the person
100%.
that you never imagined you could be. Because now look where you are.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna, and Kendra, I had to get there, right? And like in all things, we have to get there because that's not something that happens from one day to the other.
No,
You have to
right.
constantly fight with yourself and be willing to say, maybe
Excuse
you
me.
don't have everything figured out. God bless you. You don't have everything figured out, right? And you don't know it all, right? And the day that you
Right.
can say that you know it all, then you are in the wrong room. You should change room very quickly.
Right. Life is a series of hills and valleys continuously,
Mm.
highs and lows, um, you know, pivots, all of that. Life is all of that. And in those moments, we find ourselves growing, even in the silence when we're
Mm.
seeking answers from our creator. That means in that silence, we're growing, maybe in our faith to trust even more. Or maybe we need to go back and visit that journal where we wrote this vision 2 years ago and we decided that the vision was too big for us, which it always should be, meaning it's going to engage our faith in different levels of accountability.
And challenges. Yeah,
That's
a
right.
hundred percent.
Through those, all of that is a making of a person who's willing to grow.
100%. Kendra, you are hitting all of the right points because it's true. When I went up there, in Gainesville up there at the lake house and just sitting over that lake, that water, that peace, and spending time with myself, not with my phone, not,
Nope.
taking pictures and video. I was just laying out in a hammock, just swinging, looking up into the sky and the trees and the air and the sun. It was magical.
Hmm.
And in
Absolutely.
that, I found, man, I love me
Hmm.
some me. And I
Hmm.
started asking myself all kinds of questions, my likes, my dislikes, what is it that why did I get mad about that thing when he was just explaining it? So I started to think about all of these things and my actions and all of it. And I started to get to know myself a little bit better because I thought I knew myself, but I
Hmm.
didn't.
Hmm. I think what happens too in moments like that, we're able, in moments of reflection, when we're in the creation, I mean, we're a larger part of that. Just like the trees exist and the birds sing, we are human, we are complicated beings, but we also have the ability to create what we want. We
Mm-hmm.
can pursue the life that we want when we settle ourselves and literally, I like to say, go to life's whiteboard. Like every new
Mm.
year, I say we start with a blank canvas. And then
A
each
quick
month you should
reset.
be able,
Yeah.
yeah, you could
Yeah.
totally reset
Yeah.
and decide what it is that you want for this year. I don't make New Year's resolutions personally, but I do like to write my intentions, things that I want to do. I like to
Yep.
set my
Me too.
intentions. And when I set my intentions, I always say, did this intention happen? Or maybe it's in the wrong order and some other intention has to happen first.
First.
So
That's you
this
listening,
year,
right? Listening to yourself, your intuition, your
listening to
God
yourself.
voice, to your
Yes,
God voice on the inside, whatever that looks
yes,
like, right?
yes. And
Yeah.
even in setting intentions, rest has to be a part of that. Just because everybody else is moving and shaking, it may not be your week to move and shake. It may be your week to rest and reset.
Yeah.
And it's waking up each day with a greater sense of gratitude, but also understanding in that there's purpose and purpose has to be pursued because we have to have vision. Because where there is no vision, we all perish. And so
Yes.
those
Yes.
intentions are our visions that are brought to life.
100%. 100%. So let's talk about the role of leadership in
Okay.
making change happen,
Hmm.
right? Leaders
Yes,
should lead, we should lead by example. Like you said earlier, we must embody and understand that change that we want to see, we should be reflecting that for others
that's
to
right.
follow, right? And leaders
Hmm.
not only in the workplace, but leaders, you're a mother at home, you're a leader. You're a
Hmm.
father at home,
That's right.
right? You're a leader. You're a leader in the church. Actions speak louder than words. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, the last line you said, actions speak louder than words, that literally just summed it all up. Um, what what I think sometimes people fail to realize is that when we see folks, I remember when I met you, and what I loved the most about you was this fearlessness you had, this contagious laugh that you had. I mean, literally, I could hear it across the hall.
Is that be
And I
true?
listen, fearlessness and this laugh, but I have to say that leadership must have an aroma. You must have an aroma. When people see you, you should be able to light up a room. You should look
Agree.
trustworthy. And then when they come closer and lean into you, they should be able to see the DNA of a true leader. What does that mean? That you are integral, that you are reliable, that you do hold a vision for your organization, for your home. Um, Wherever you're leading, that we're carriers of a vision.
Mm,
And as we carry these visions, it ignites something, pieces of the vision in other people as you carry a vision. Because when you carry a vision, it begins to unfold. Like when you, like here, I've led a rebrand.
yeah.
Someone came to me and they said, ever since this rebrand happened, it's been a shift in the organization.
Mm,
And one thing that I like to say is there is a scripture that says, write the vision and make it plain. One of the
mm-hmm,
first things I did when I came here was presented a marketing plan, with the first recommendation being a rebrand, because I saw a lot of things out of alignment. And then I had to sell that vision to about 4 different groups of people. And so when we write the vision, even for our lives, we can, like, I hear people have vision board parties.
mm-hmm,
If leadership is something, and this can't be minimized. Is this,
mm-mm,
a lot of people say, oh, I don't want to lead, but you're leading at home. Oh, I don't want to lead, but you're probably leading a certain area at work. I don't care if you're the receptionist at the front
you are
desk,
leading that
you are
area.
leading that area. And so
Mm-hmm,
whether it's being voluntold you're doing it, or by proxy you're doing it, you're leading. And so
yeah.
as a leader, I said earlier, you have an aroma for leadership, that when there's a fragrance to you, and I'm not talking about Fendi perfume, and I'm not talking about Michael Kors and all those other brands, but there's an aroma to when you step into a room. There's this respect that comes to you because of who you are, how you've lived your life with integrity, how you've decided to glean from past experience, how you've healed from past hurts, how you've dealt with your trauma and unpacked that. Because true leaders never look back at their lives and say, you know what, I wish I would have stayed there. We don't stay. We don't look in the rearview mirrors, but to look back and see where we've come from, to look at our growth and our development. Because truth is, when a leader becomes a leader, it's a journey. You never
Mm,
get to a place and you just say, this is where I am. But we also
mm-hmm,
have an onus to look back and to see who else we can help and
mm-hmm,
develop those leadership skills and leadership character within them.
mm-hmm. 100%. Oh my goodness, Kendra, that was so good. Man, that was a gem. Oh, that was a
Oh,
gem. So you said the vision. Leaders must have a vision, so that they have to understand. They have to have that why for
yes,
others to follow, right? Because
yes,
and then not only have the why for yourself, but you have to share the why and how your why
yes,
connects with their why as it relates to their role, as it relates to their purpose. Talk to me, Kendra.
yes. Because everybody has a piece of the puzzle that they have to bring, and they gotta put their piece so that it comes together. And so when you have a why, your why is gonna always be bigger than your paycheck, because your why is why you continue. Listen, is why you keep showing up. Now, don't mess with me, because I do like to have a nice paycheck. But your why is what fuels you. Your why is the fire inside of you. Your why is the grace that makes it easy for you to do, because I'm telling you, that is what it is. When you think of your why, everybody, you know, knows that they have a why, but some kind of way our whys connect.
Connect. Mm-hmm.
Just like, an organization has core values. Like at Meridian, it stands for heart. The H is for hope. The E is for empathy. The A is for accountability. The R is for resiliency, and the T is for teamwork. Heart. Okay, you think of those 5, right? Of them 5, at least 3 of them need to align with my personal core values. I definitely believe in teamwork, because I'm not lifting a sofa if I need to move it somewhere by myself. If I got to lift a box and it's heavy, I need to, yeah, right. So when I think about that, hope, we all need that. We all need hope to get up and face the rainy days. But in order to have sunny days, you got to appreciate the rainy days, because both provide their own set of nutrients for us as human, as
100%.
in the earth. So the why is always bigger than what we get every 2 weeks or
Mm-hmm.
bi-weekly, but it
Mm-hmm.
feeds our purpose to not exist, but to thrive.
Mm. Yes. Yes. 100%. Miss G, hi. How you doing? Thanks for popping in. So, building that culture around you to take those actions, Kendra.
Hmm.
So, from conversation to commitment. Because I believe that when you start making real change and you decide what your intentions are, and you start looking, okay, let me start with some baby steps and put some actions behind this intention, whatever that
Mhm.
intention is. All right, what's that commitment? You got to
Mm.
commit, because you can go from, there's a difference between, I'm interested, yeah, I'm interested in that job, I'm interested in, probably
Mhm.
starting that role or probably starting that business, or are you committed? There's a difference, because
Definitely.
interest, you show up sometimes, it's not a priority when you have time, when you remember it. Commitment, it's on your calendar. You,
Mhm.
4 o'clock, I got to be out of this job because I got to go and show up for something else that I committed
Right.
myself to. Let's talk about that.
Mhm. As a literary agent, I always tell our clients you have to schedule your writing appointments just like you schedule your dentist appointment and you schedule your nail and hair appointment. It's an appointment. And I tell them you have to write 8 hours a week. And they say, well, 8 hours a week? You got 7 days in a week. How you want to do it? And I'll tell them, I always start my writing on Sundays because Sunday starts my week. I always
Mm-hmm.
start working out on
I
Sundays
like that.
because Sunday
I
starts my
like
week.
that.
I kick it off on Sunday because it starts my week and I start early. So, how do you get people to buy into a vision? I think a lot of times you have to, with anything you do, you have to have, I don't like to say proof, but you need some evidence of where you're going. You got to have some evidence.
Otherwise, otherwise, what we're
To
doing.
dead in the water. So we're gonna have a conversation about what I've noticed and things that I've seen in how sometimes it's a personal testimony. I know for where I am now, um, that the personal testimony was the journey of my sister's recovery and her sobriety. And maybe it took that for me to end up here to realize there's a narrative that needs to be changed.
Mm-hmm.
And once you begin there, everything else, I believe, you got to have commitment, like you said, but you can't give it all at one time. I think,
Mm-mm. Baby steps. You got to do baby steps. I feel like you need to do baby steps, because I always say you can eat the elephant. We gonna eat the elephant, all the elephant today, but you're not gonna have anything for tomorrow. You're not gonna be able to. If you eat, the only thing you can do today is eat part of that elephant's, one of its ears, right? Part of its ear, and then afterwards figure out, okay, you got to leave time and space for tomorrow, because when the elephant is so big, if you eat it all today, you're not going to have any food for tomorrow, and you need to be able to sustain yourself for what's next, so you got to build on that. I think Kendra froze a little bit, but she'll be back. So as it relates to dealing with that culture, from conversation to commitment, you have to have that why. You have to have that commitment to yourself, because people talk the talk all the time. But you got, this year is a new year, and I know that there's a lot going on in life and in the world, but you have, what is your why for getting up every single day? What is your why for getting up and going to work every day? Don't say it's for the paycheck, because the paycheck is, that's limited, right? For your kids, okay. Why? Do you want your kids to have a better world than you grew up in? Then you got to start creating that world today, where you are, what you're doing, where you are. And it's very simple. Start where you are. Start with what you have. We don't have it all figured out. We don't have it all figured out right now, right? But it's taking that intention, and then putting, Kendra said earlier, having that intention, which, what that purpose is, what your goal is, and then developing the steps to go along with that. And then say, this month I'll get this done. And then you put it every single week on your calendar, or put it as a reminder, but you need to put it somewhere that you're going to see every day. Somewhere that is going to remind you, and then it's going to prompt you to pick it up. All right, let's go. Some of my clients, I tell them about affirmations. Put the affirmation that for the results of what you want, that commitment that you want, you know, Put it on your mirror in the bathroom, or wherever it is that you make sure you go every day and you look, or at your job, at the on the wall. Like here on my wall, I have countless amount of stickies because they are all quotes, motivation reminders for me to keep going, right? One of the quotes says, God's gift to us is more talent and ability than we'll ever hope to see or use in our lifetime. Our gift to God is to develop as much of that talent and ability as much as we can in this lifetime. Steve Bow said that. So my question to you, how are you implementing your intentions, your goal, in order for you to have the change that you want in your life? I'm not saying you're going to have it figured out all tomorrow. I'm saying let's put some action behind those thoughts. Let's put some action behind those words, right? I think Kendra is coming back now, you guys. So, yay, Kendra. I try to hold them down. I don't know if they liked it, but you know.
Thank you for holding them down. And I'm hoping it doesn't do it again. My phone just said it got hot and shut down. I never had that happen before.
Well, it's the enemy. He's trying to silence, but you know what? You
Not
know
gonna
what?
work. We back here.
I love it. So, Kendra, I was talking about how they can take those small bite-sized actions and implement their why into their daily activities. Put it on your mirror that you have in the bathroom. Put it at work where you can see that wall every single day. Talk to someone. Put it a reminder on your phone. Talk to somebody that's going to hold you accountable. That's going to check in with you in 2 weeks and see if you
Yes,
actually did what you said you're going to do. But you got to take
absolutely.
action.
It is. And even you said put reminders on your phone. My phone is full of
Me,
alarms.
me too.
What put it on your calendar is one thing, but baby, when it's an alarm, I get to moving in a different direction. But those things matter.
A hundred
Put it
percent.
I like you know where I like to put my notes on my speedometer.
Mhm.
Put sticky notes in my armrest for that purpose. But you
Oh
be
my
trying to
goodness.
be
I
that's
am
setting our
telling you.
intentions.
I love it. You have to. You have to. So, two more points before we get ready to get out of here, you guys. Making it personal. So, make it personal. Walking the talk begins with aligning your actions with your values. Kendra said that
Mm,
earlier, and your intentions. That's the only way it's going to happen. You can't say, I'm going
listen.
to that. Why, your why is to get up every day and to make that paycheck. That's not a why. That's a paycheck.
Mm-mm. Right. And that's a what? What we
What?
doing?
Because you're not gonna do it long term. You're like, I'm gonna be here at my why is to get up every single day because I'm here at this job because I want to be able to pay my mom's house off. And while
Mm,
I do this degree, that's gonna get me this higher paying role to start helping my mom pay off her house. That is deep because
listen.
she is alive. I want her to be in a house that's paid off. That's deeper than
Yes.
anything.
Listen. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, that's just an example, right? But you got
Right.
to, whatever your why is, whatever your goals are, align it and make the
Mhm.
change happen. Just make it happen. And so
That's it.
last but not least, make the change happen with a call to action. So you had this conversation today with the amazing Dr. Kendra Albury. What are you taking away from this conversation? Kendra, I want you to leave a quote. I want you to leave some words of inspiration that will motivate them to act. Just share your soul with us in these
Mhm.
last couple of minutes, and let's see where we go from here, which can only be
Absolutely.
up, right?
Mhm. It's one of my favorite scriptures is submit your plans to the Lord and they will succeed. And so when I am writing my intentions, I know if I write them and I slide them across the table to my creator, I say this is in your hands. And I know even knowing that his plans are far better than ours than we can ever think or imagine. And
That's
so
good.
when we're submitting those plans, that means sometimes we have to back away, knowing that sometimes it may be a season of pause, or sometimes it may be a season of thrust. But either way, His grace is sufficient. Even in that, we have to also know that purpose is king in life. Why we exist. Why are we here on this earth? You said something so important. You said, my mom is still here. And I know it was an example, but how can we honor that? When we think of purpose, it's always bigger than us. It always is. How can we leave our mark on this earth into hearts? Not have them put on certificates, or, I remember when I was working in the philanthropy office at UF Health, Shands Jacksonville, one of the major board members with Florida Blue told me, we don't want another plaque. We want to make impact. And that thing, when I left out of that meeting, it changed the way I saw my own life, and how we choose to build legacy, how we choose in building legacy is transforming the lives of people who are around us within reason. And I say within reason because not everyone will receive what we ask, or we try to offer them. But we have to be receivers of information and decide what is for us, what doesn't work for us, but also knowing that there's always a greater plan, and it is far beyond what we can ever imagine or think. But we have to start with writing a vision and submitting those plans, slide them across the table to the one who created us, and saying, you know what? That's not using him as a scapegoat. I did my part, but this is where I want the rubber to meet the road. I want
Mm-hmm.
him to place the right people in my path. I want the right doors and windows of opportunity to open for me, because I'm doing the things that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm connecting with the right people I'm supposed to be connecting with. And if you don't know, you can always have a conversation with yourself. Why am I feeling so dull? Because iron sharpens iron. That means we have to become vulnerable enough to find the other swords within our communities, or even on global platforms. Sometimes we have to step into those spaces and realize, no, I may be a butter knife today, but just give me a little time. I will be a steak knife with those ridges, and I will, right, I will level up. And it's not for my vainglory, but it's to make impact. It's to leave impact, to leave this earth better than what we found it, our circle of influence better than what we found it. And just knowing that leadership is a seed that's inside of all of us. It just has to be watered, cultivated, and nurtured.
Mm. Kendra, tell the amazing people how they can get in contact with you. Kendra mentioned earlier that she has a brand. She helps you write. If you have a story, you want to write your book, you want to write,
Yes.
you talk about a little bit about that and tell them how they can get in contact with you before we get out of here, Kendra. I want to make sure.
Absolutely. So, of course, I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm supposed to say I'm on LinkedIn. I am, but I can't keep up with all of it. But if you ping me, I'll catch up with you. Mostly on Facebook. You can inbox me. But I also have a website, and it's KendraAllberry.org, where you can find me there and find out more about my services, some of the books I've written. I'm really excited because I'm getting ready to embark on a journey with my mom. I'm releasing a book, all the things she told us, things my
Oh
mama
my
said, and maybe
goodness.
yours did too. I think every woman should write a story about their mother,
I
regardless of what that
agree.
is. I'm so excited about it because it was over 100 things my mom told my siblings and I. I promise you, she had no clue that she was raising a whole cadet of survivors some kind of way. And when I shared things with them, we would laugh so hard because she meant what she said and she said what she meant. So KendraAllberry.org is where you can find me. I'm excited that I'll be releasing my newest work in May, which marks the month of Mother's Day. So
Mm.
I get to make more
Kendra,
impact.
I'm gonna definitely reach out because I have on my list within this year that I want to do exactly what you just said. So it seems like You see how she didn't even know that was a part of my list, and here we are. You
Yes.
see,
Yes.
iron sharpens iron. You put yourself around people that are doing exactly what you want to do. They show up.
Absolutely.
That's
Wait,
God telling you.
that's right. That's right. Thank you so much, Dr. Dale, for having me.
Absolutely.
I've
You know you're
enjoyed
coming
my
back,
time.
right? You know you're coming
You
back in a
call
couple of
me.
months, right?
Okay, call me. I'm ready. I'm
Thank you
eager.
guys. Thank you guys. This has been a glimpse of growth with Dr. Dale. Thank you, Kendra, for being here.
You're
Dr.
welcome.
Kendra for being here. She's a doctor. Just she be playing games. She's a doctor, you guys, in case you guys did not know. Okay, so yes, go to kendraalbury.org. Kendra, stay on so we can have a quick chat, and bye you
Okay.
guys later.
Have a great day. Winning
Later.
Wednesday.